This might seem completely ridiculous to some people. Beer and red wine vinegar, or balsamic vinegar preferably. We're going to mix the two of them together. Now, apparently, beer tastes better with balsamic vinegar. That's a really terrible looking beer. So, I'll have a beer on its own. Tastes fantastic. If you put a dash of vinegar in a beer, or a bit more than a dash, so let me have a taste. That's actually not as bad as I expected. It's not as bad as I expected. Hold on 1 second. That's weird. Yeah, not as bad as I expected. Now there's a point here. Dr. Dan Ariely some years ago did a double-blind test, or did a test with two groups of people. One group got to taste two beers. The first beer had balsamic vinegar, and the second beer did not. It was just a plain beer. People preferred, in the blind test, they actually preferred the beer with the balsamic vinegar, which was a little bit odd. And actually, it isn't that bad. Then he got the other group and he let them do the same test, but he revealed to them what was inside the beer. He said, A is balsamic vinegar with beer, and they kind of did that, like I did. And B is plain beer. Which do you prefer? And they overwhelmingly chose the beer without the balsamic vinegar. The results were flipped. So why is that? It's all about expectations. You were expecting the beer with the balsamic vinegar to taste awful, and when you knew it was in there, your brain actually told you, yes, it is awful. This has got really big implications for marketing, sales, customer service professionals. The expectation you set is as important as the reality, because the expectation is the reality. So what we have here is a mixture of expectations and the placebo effect going head to head in the reality of what the customer is experiencing, either in a prospective sale or a real sale. You've all heard of the placebo effect. The thing about the placebo effect is that it is reality, because what happens if you give someone a placebo is that you end up triggering some physiological reactions in the body which actually do things. For example, if you're given a sugar tablet and you're in pain, that sugar tablet will actually release, well, it won't, but the thought of the sugar tablet will release opioids in your body and diminish your pain. Now, you can't access these opioids automatically and say, hey, body, release more opioids, because otherwise your conscious mind's going to do weird things with your body. It has to be something that your brain has to be tricked into doing. But you actually do change your physiology with the placebo. They really do work. So what's that got to do with sales and marketing? Well, the thing is that placebos are all about the expectation. If the higher the expectation, the more effective it's going to be. So when you go to the doctor's surgery, now in America, you have people with the big long white coats, you've got the big grand entrance, you've got this process, you've got this ritual tied in with the expectation. So you've got a high ritual in terms of checking into, say, a hospital, and you've also got this expectation that comes from a very well studied person who's probably middle-aged in a long white lab coat type of thing. Placebos are real, and you've got two things going on. You've got ritual and you've got the expectation. Now, if the ritual is low and the expectation is low, you're in a situation like a local market, in a street market in Turkey or in Bali, someone selling t-shirts. You know the stuff's not going to be good quality because you're not expecting it to be good quality, and there's not much ritual about the purchase. It's more of a hey, you want to buy it, there's some bargaining, there's some haggling going on. You know there's not much ritual. It's just like, do you want it? And they give it to you in this paper bag or this a plastic bag, and off you go with your purchase, and you don't actually expect it to last that long, and as a result you don't pay that much. Now compare that to buying a Mac computer or an iPhone. It comes in this gorgeous case, and you've got this whole thing that pulls apart, and it's all white, and it's just stunning. It's gorgeous. Your expectation is very, very high. You're expecting that you're going to get something of quality. And there's actually, if you go into the store, there's a bit of a ritual to it. Even if you go to a Tiffany store, I've been there once and I bought something once, there was this huge ritual that came with it. So expectation high, ritual high, you start to attract higher prices. So things like unboxing, onboarding with a new client. If you've got a new client and you create a big ritual about onboarding them, then that with a higher expectation gives you the opportunity to get a little bit more pricing out of them. So what happens if you've got high expectations and low ritual? Well, that's the world of consultants and speakers, conference speakers. You've got people who are expecting someone to know their stuff. They're expecting them to be professional, but the ritual is very, very low. You basically walk on stage, do your thing for 45 minutes, and walk off again, done, next. So there's not much room there for playing around in terms of price. But if speakers and consultants, as example, would lift the ritual and create some sort of ritual around what they're doing, there's an opportunity there to have more price. Now there's another example. There's the high ritual and low expectation. Now this is the world of, you know this world very, very well. This is the world of McDonald's. This is the world of a bulk bill doctor, just a government appointed doctor, let's say, if you're not in Australia. You don't expect much, and there is a high ritual. You've got the ritual of walking, say, in McDonald's. You know that there's a certain process and there's a way that things are done, and you follow that. But because the expectation's not high, they can't extract the higher prices. This is the world of volume. So you've got a lot of ritual. And the ritual is mainly systems and processes, but you've got very, very low expectations. So there's also low pricing and low margin on a per transaction basis. So where does this leave us? From a customer service perspective, if you can create rituals, think Tiffany's, think Apple Mac in terms of unboxing. Think of any of those brands that have got this high ritual, and you'll see that the ritual is part of the premium. Then you've also got high expectation, which could come from just the location of the store. It could be because it's all glass and whatever. It could be the advertising. It could be the branding. It could be the pricing. They're all signals of the expectation of what you're going to get. Get those two to merge and you're at peak pricing. You're at a high value product. Go the other way, be down at the Balinese street vendor level, and you're going to get Balinese street vendor pricing. Now, probably the product's not as good, but I'm sure that a t-shirt on the Balinese street at say $4 or $5 is not 100 times inferior to a high-end Versace t-shirt that you buy for $400. But that's where the premium comes in. You want to get more premium, you've got to build the expectation, you've got to build yourself some ritual. I'm Stephen DiPietro. Thanks for tuning in, and cheers.